Win your mind before you win the world. They told you that the world is yours if you just work hard enough. They told you success lives in the hustle, the grind, the endless noise of movement. But they forgot to tell you the secret that giants knew, that your outer empire will always be a shadow of your inner kingdom. Before you conquer a single inch of earth, before you claim a dollar, a title, a throne, you must first win the battlefield that lives between your ears. It is here, in the silent chambers of your mind, that wars are lost long before they ever begin in the world. It is here that men like Lincoln learned to hold the weight of a broken nation, where Edison conjured 10,000 failed attempts into a single unstoppable light, where Carnegie saw bridges before steel was even forged, where Disney saw castles before a single brick was laid. The mind, the place where dreams either ignite or disintegrate into ashes. You think your enemies are out there, the critics, the doubters, the circumstances, but the greatest enemy you'll ever face is the whisper that says, you can't. The enemy is the voice that asks you to quit when the world gets heavy, the voice that prefers comfort over conquest, safety over significance, survival over sovereignty. To win your mind is to master the silent conversations you have at 3 a.m. when no one is watching, when your soul asks, who are you? Why are you here? And most run from that question because it demands blood, sweat, and rebirth. Look at the greats. They were not the strongest, not the smartest, not the most gifted at birth. They were the ones who forged a mind that refused to yield. They built a mind that saw a wall and asked, how can I break it? A mind that turned rejection into rocket fuel. A mind that believed so deeply, so wildly, so irrationally, that the universe had no choice but to submit. You see, your mind is the original canvas. Every masterpiece, every billion-dollar idea, every love story, every revolution was first a flicker in someone's consciousness. They held that flicker like a sacred fire, guarding it against storms of doubt and the cold winds of ridicule. When you win your mind, you wake up differently. You move with a silent authority. You stop negotiating with your lesser self. You stop justifying mediocrity to fit in with the herd. You no longer tiptoe around your potential, as if greatness is reserved for someone else. The world is a mirror. It reflects not your wishes, not your prayers, but your deep, dominant beliefs. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. You walk into the world with a mind cluttered by past failures, haunted by what-ifs, strangled by your life will be nothing but a monument to your fears. But if you clean that mind, sharpen it like a blade, and saturate it with unwavering faith, the world will bow. That's the first law of internal conquest, belief beyond evidence. When the Wright brothers imagined flight, the world laughed. When Ford envisioned an automobile for every home, they called him delusional. When Oprah dared to rise from trauma to build an empire, they told her she was too different, too poor, too broken. They all heard the same words, impossible, but they had already won their minds. Winning your mind is not an event, it's a daily ritual. It is the morning you decide to rise before the sun because you refuse to start the day reactive. It's the cold shower that trains your spirit to embrace discomfort. It's the moment you say no to distractions and yes to vision. The mind is a muscle, and every act of discipline is a rep. Every time you choose purpose over pleasure, you strengthen the gates of your inner citadel. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you add bricks to the fortress of self-respect. Because here's the truth, they won't tell you. Your destiny is not found in the next big opportunity, not in the next book or the next seminar. Your destiny is sculpted in silence, in the hours when no one applauds you, in the nights when you choose to keep building, even when the world is asleep. Imagine your mind as a kingdom. Who rules it? Are you the sovereign or the slave? Does your mind serve you, or have you become a prisoner to its wild, undisciplined whims? You cannot expect to win external battles if you are bleeding internally from 1,000 unseen wounds. You cannot expect to build an empire if your mind is a house of cards, trembling at every gust of challenge. When you win your mind, you no longer chase, you attract. You no longer beg for opportunities, you command them. You become the architect of reality, not a drifter carried by the tides of other people's opinions. When you stand guard at the gates of your mind, you decide what enters and what stays. You reject the poison of small thinkers, you refuse the venom of the cynics, and you exile every thought that tells you to settle. Because you understand now, what you tolerate in your mind, you manifest in your life. If you allow weakness, you live weak. If you allow fear, you live small. If you allow excuses, you build a palace of regret. History bows before the mind that is unwavering. Think of Mandela, who spent 27 years in a prison cell, yet emerged with a mind stronger than steel, a vision brighter than the sun, a spirit unbreakable. He understood that even if the body is chained, the mind can remain free. Or look at Helen Keller, born into a darkness and silence no ordinary human can imagine. Yet her mind pierced through those barriers to shape a legacy that echoes across centuries. She taught us that your outer limitations are nothing compared to the power of an inner decision. Your mind is the first battlefield, and you must become its warrior and its king. You must be ruthless with your inner weaknesses and gentle with your inner vision. You must become both the sword and the shield, both the architect and the guardian. Every day, the world will test you. It will tempt you to react, to shrink, to abandon your path in favor of comfort. Every day, it will offer you mediocrity wrapped in shiny distraction. But every day, you also hold a choice to strengthen the throne of your mind or to surrender it. Your thoughts are seeds, and your mind is the soil. You can plant weeds of fear, or you can plant oaks of courage. You can nurture the garden of possibility or allow it to be overrun by the wild vines of doubt. The man or woman who wins their mind becomes unstoppable, because they've already conquered the only thing that ever truly mattered. You can lose your wealth and rebuild it. You can lose a relationship and find love again. You can fail in business and rise from the ashes. But if you lose your mind, you lose everything. You see, the world does not respond to your desperation. It responds to your vibration. The vibration that says, I am enough. I am unstoppable. I am inevitable. Visualize this. A lion does not wake up and announce to the jungle that he is king. He simply walks. His presence commands. His confidence radiates. His mind is already convinced of its own sovereignty, and the jungle obeys. So, why do you announce your intentions to people who can't see your vision? Why do you beg for validation from those who have not yet mastered their own minds? You don't need permission to be great. You need conviction. You need discipline. You need an unshakable internal blueprint that no storm can wash away. And that blueprint begins with vision. You must see the castle in the fog long before a single stone is laid. You must taste victory in the marrow of your bones before the first battle is ever fought. Vision is the compass. It is the North Star when the world tries to pull you off course. Think of Thomas Edison, who saw light in a world of darkness. He failed over 10,000 times, but each failure was not a defeat. It was a brick in the mental fortress he was building, because he had already seen the light bulb in his mind. The world was simply catching up to his internal reality. When you win your mind, your failures no longer define you, they refine you. Each setback becomes a rep in the gym of resilience. Each rejection is a whisper from the universe asking, how bad do you really want it? If you truly desire to win the world, first become a master sculptor of your thoughts. Choose them like a warrior choosing his weapons before battle. Sharpen them, polish them, wield them with precision. Because here's the brutal truth. The mind left untrained will betray you. It will sabotage your dreams in silence. It will whisper lies in the shadows. It will build invisible prisons that look like comfort. And comfort is the silent assassin of greatness. Greatness demands that you sit alone with your demons, that you stare into the abyss and declare, I will not bend, I will not break, I will not surrender my throne. People speak of luck. They worship it like some mythical god. But the man who has won his mind does not depend on luck. He manufactures certainty. He knows that luck is simply the residue of design, the echo of disciplined belief. You must understand, the world is not waiting to give you anything. It owes you nothing. But your mind can give you everything. The internal empire you build today becomes the external kingdom you rule tomorrow. When you walk through the world with a mind that is already victorious, every door you knock on becomes an invitation instead of an obstacle. Every challenge becomes a teacher instead of a tormentor. Every no becomes a stepping stone instead of a dead end. Because your mind, once fortified, sees beyond the surface. It no longer reacts to temporary storms. It navigates by an eternal compass, guided by the stars of vision and purpose. What is purpose? It is the oxygen of the mind. Without it, your thoughts suffocate. Without it, you drift, a ship with torn sails in an endless ocean. But with purpose, every day has meaning. Every sacrifice has value. Every bruise becomes a badge of honor. Look at Martin Luther King Jr., a man who faced threats, prison, hatred, yet his mind burned with a vision so bright that no prison cell could dim it. He said, "I have a dream," not "I have a plan," because he knew that a dream held in the mind with unshakable faith is more powerful than 1,000 strategies without soul. Purpose gives your mind a fortress no army can breach. Purpose transforms pain into power. The blows of life become chisel strokes shaping your masterpiece. Once you hold a purpose, you must learn the art of discipline, the unwavering loyalty to your higher self. Discipline is not punishment. It is the ultimate act of self-love. It is telling yourself, "I will not betray the future for the comfort of the present." Andrew Carnegie, a man born into poverty, disciplined his mind to see wealth where others saw scarcity. He chose learning over leisure, steel over softness. His discipline turned him into one of the richest men in history. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination, rejected countless times, bankrupt, yet he kept showing up at the gates of his dream every day. Why? Discipline. He knew that the mind, when anchored to a purpose and sculpted by discipline, bends reality to its will. Discipline is waking up when the world sleeps, practicing when no one applauds, sacrificing when no one understands. Discipline is the hammer that forges your spirit into a weapon capable of carving your name into eternity. And beyond discipline lies action, consistent, relentless action, because thought without movement is a tomb. You can think, visualize, believe, but until your feet move, your dream remains a ghost, Ford said. You can't build a reputation on what you are going to do. Action turns invisible faith into tangible reality. It is the alchemy that transforms mind into matter. Think of the Roman legions, how they trained until their swords were an extension of their spirit. Think of the artists who paint until their souls bleed onto the canvas. Think of the entrepreneur who fails and rebuilds, until the world finally bows. When your mind is one, and your purpose is clear, and your discipline is unwavering, action becomes sacred. Each step is an offering to your future self. Each move is a declaration. I am here, I am coming, I will not be denied. But there is another piece, gratitude. A weapon so underestimated, it might as well be invisible. Gratitude transforms the mind from scarcity to abundance, from fear to courage. It is the lens that reveals blessings in broken places. Lincoln, in the midst of civil war, thanked his soldiers, thanked his critics, thanked his failures for shaping him into a stronger leader. Gratitude kept his mind afloat when the country threatened to tear apart. You cannot hold anger and gratitude in the same heart. You cannot hold fear and gratitude in the same mind. When you root yourself in gratitude, you rise above the battlefield. You become a lighthouse in storms, an immovable mountain in earthquakes. Gratitude teaches you to see setbacks as lessons, obstacles as opportunities, delays as divine timing. It trains your mind to dance in the rain while others curse the storm. And so your journey demands adaptability, the willingness to bend without breaking, to pivot without losing the core of who you are. The oak that refuses to bend in a hurricane snaps. The bamboo that sways survives. When Ford faced bankruptcy, he adapted. When Disney lost rights to his own character, he created a new one. When athletes are injured, they adapt, learn, evolve. Adaptability is the proof of a mind that is not merely strong but alive. It is the sign of a warrior who listens to life's whispers and transforms them into roars. The rigid mind is a fragile mind. The adaptable mind is an immortal mind. And still, beyond adaptability, beyond discipline, beyond action, there lies the ultimate forge of greatness, resilience, the ability to rise again and again. No matter how many times you are shattered, mind truly won does not see failure as an identity. It sees failure as a visitor, a messenger, a temporary guest that leaves behind lessons. The resilient mind is not afraid of scars. It welcomes them as stories written on the skin of the soul.